Hey, hey, and welcome. Hey, you guys. Thank you for clicking on the video. Before we get started, I'm going to remind you to do all of the things at the bottom of the screen. Hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, comment in the comment section, share because sharing is caring, and please turn on your notifications. I hope everybody is doing well this weekend. Onyx Collective's Reasonable Doubt is back for the second season, and your girl is super duper excited. Now, I just did a recap of season 1, so if you guys need to catch up, go ahead and check this video out, and then come back and check this one out. But we're going to get right into it. It is season 2, episode 1, Can I Live? As we continue, to get the Jay-Z song titles for our episodes for those of you who hadn't for some reason caught on Reasonable Doubt, Jay-Z album. Every episode, season 1 was a Jay-Z song title, and this season is no different. Let's put it up here. I don't really have that many pictures. I got our girl Jax and I got Chanel because they are going to be the focus of episode 1. Going to do 2 separate videos, one for episode 1, one for episode 2. And I got this. This is Reasonable Doubt season 2. These are our episode titles going forward. So we are continuing that tradition. So now, since season 1, it's been 2 months since the Damon situation. And Louis is staying over more, but leaving before the kids can see him. Now, these two, they haven't been intimate because Jax says they're not ready. Jax is seeing a therapist who is helping her navigate through everything following the incident. And she says that she stopped having nightmares and feels a lot more at ease in her daily life. We love to see it. Therapy is everything. And the therapist has prescribed her medicine, but she's kind of hesitant to take it. Jax, we find out later on in the episode, has not even filled the prescription. Yikes. So she also gets cleared to go back to work in her visit. Now, Jax says she's ready, and I just hope that she is. Throughout this episode, we're going to see maybe, maybe not. But her therapist is talking to her about boundaries and says, she's there if she wants to continue therapy, medicine or not. Boundaries are always a good idea. Okay. Your girl likes to get up here on a pajama Sunday and talk all about it. Boundaries. So now what I didn't understand is that there had been a time kind of jump, if you will, at the end of season 1 that they didn't tell us about. So now when we see her get that she's doing this run we see here, and she gets that call from Chanel to tell her that she took JT out. Like I said, we saw that at the end of last season. Now we saw him on the floor again at the beginning of this episode, and we're seeing him ask her to call for the ambulance. So now Jax is there, and Chanel is kind of giving her a play-by-play as to what happened. And Chanel's face, her face, her neck are bruised up pretty bad. And she says this time, she was leaving for good. She was taking the kids, and, she couldn't breathe because, okay. But this time she managed to get a trophy, and she's like, oh, there was so much blood. So she says she called 911. And then she called Jax. Now, when Jax first gets there, she's having some flashbacks about what happened with Damon. And that's why I said baby needs to continue that therapy, and she might need that medicine to just lean on if it'll take the edge off, see if that works. But, she's still able to give her some sound advice and tell Chanel that she does need to go to the hospital to be checked out. Also, this man is gone, so we need to keep a record of everything, and everything needs to be documented. So when we get to the hospital, the doctor does just that. She documents all of her injuries, but the police also want to talk to her. And I was saying, I don't know if that's such a good idea. Jax is in the hallway having another episode when Sally and Autumn show up, and they're in complete shock. They say there's press all around outside. The poor kids are in a tizzy because one is, they somebody's watching the kids. But Jax, like I said, was looking like she was about to have a panic attack. And before she could get home, she was like, I just got to go home. She got to swoop in and save the day because the detectives are already questioning Chanel. So when Jax does finally get home, Louis is there to step up Thank you, Lewis, for being you. We hope you continue to be a good guy throughout this season. You had a little misstep last season, but then again, so did Jax. But we are hoping you stay on that clear and narrow. So again, now this is the third time I was saying the episode. Jax is on the verge of a panic attack, but thankfully he has already had the foresight to go ahead and fill that prescription. But Jax is like, oh, she can't lay down right now because she's got to write down things for Chanel. She plans to represent her because she says it's self-defense. And Louis, he ain't so happy about it. And this is just going to mean more issues between the two of them that we really don't need because he's still living outside of the home. So Jax, she was cleared. She gets back to work now. She goes back to work, honestly, to save her friend, right? So Rich, who she'd worked with a lot in the first season, has moved up north for his wife's new job. Jax is telling the board, they're sitting down having this big meeting about Chanel's case, but she also kind of tells them she wants to scale back on her billable hours, which does not go so well. Boundaries, like your therapist told you, sweetheart, boundaries. You're going to have to exercise those a lot at work as well at home. And we do see her exercise those in the end of this episode. So Naima, who is Jax's daughter, if you recall, now I'm pretty sure you can get that in the comments and correct me if I'm wrong, that they changed actresses on us. This girl looks totally different. I don't know if it's the same actress and maybe she's just matured and I think it's a different person, but it's only supposed to be a 2-month time span. So baby girl done got hella grown. But her and Spencer are apparently over mom being home, okay? Child, you know how that goes. They be wanting you home, but then when you're home, they're like, all right, you in our business, doing a lot, asking a lot of questions. And she was saying she even, was trying to help her rewrite her paper. So they're ready for her to go. Jax manages to get Chanel a psych eval, and it looks like, she's got a bit of survivor's remorse, oddly enough. Jax goes to talk to her buddy Miguel at the DA's office. Remember him from last season, to see what he knows. Jax always got to get the inside scoop. She get the edge and see what's going on. And she kind of thinks that she has this in the bag, but as she and Louis are about to have lunch, she runs into him getting some juice. Daniel calls. Baby, wait for it. Dun, 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 dun. Apparently, JT was gone 2 hours before Chanel called 911. Now, we did see him laying on the floor at the beginning of the episode because it kind of gave us a reenactment, if you will. And we did see her kind of go upstairs and she was laying down in the bed. And I was like, is this really happening? And not only that, but she moved the body. I said, yikes, this does not sound good for our girl, Chanel. So they get to Jax's house and they have a powwow. And Chanel says there's no way it was 2 hours. She says she went upstairs and hid for a while, but 2 hours, it was not. And also she told the detectives who questioned her at the hospital, because Jackson's like, did they ask you at the hospital? Of course they did. What did you say? She said she didn't know, which is fair. She said it happened so fast. Then she said she called Jax and then the police, which is different than what she said earlier. Before she said she called 911. This is what she told Jax when she came to the house. And then her. Turns out it was a reverse. It's not looking so good for her. So Dan, like I said, everybody's there. Dan, only person I think wasn't there was Crystal, but Jax is there, Chanel's there, Daniel's there, and I think Autumn and Sally are also there. So they're like, they said you moved the body, and man was like, I turned him over to make sure he was gone. At this moment, I said to myself, so much for self-defense and this being an open shut case. But she persists, like I was defending myself. But Jax is just trying to prepare her for the possibility of something more. So Chanel is like, she's willing to take a plea. She just don't want to put her kids through a trial. For now, is what I was saying. For now. I take notes as I go. So Jax shows up late for therapy and has to leave early. I said, oh, okay, poor Louis. You said you was going to do the work, and now you're not doing the work. Work was a problem, and now we are showing our therapist front and center how work can be a problem. So Jax is kind of explaining to the therapist, I think his name is Dr. Webb, that Louis asked her to choose between him and the job. And Louis says, he asked her to consider a better work-life balance. And I said, smooth, Louis. I like how you phrase that. I like how you phrased it. Because we all looking for that work-life balance. But he did ask her if she wanted to be a lawyer or a wife. I said, womp womp, one for Lewis, one for Jax. It was tit for tat. The therapist also clocks. He's like, I kind of see that there's a point system in your relationship, and it's who hurt whom more, and that's never good. So, there's a lot of back and forth. These two are, tit for tatting it, but they both said that they want to reconcile when the therapist asked. So he's like, listen, he plans to help them communicate and argue better. People don't realize that I did not graduate, but I took a lot of psychology classes in college, and there is a way to argue. Now, even your girl gets off track with that because you got to play nice. You can't say things that you can't, take back. We have to be very mindful of our words. So they've both got a lot of work to do, but Lewis is frankly over it because when they leave, he is just too through with Jax and their verbal sparring. Now, if that's not enough, Miguel is taken off the case. The DA is up for re-election, and they want a woman for the slam dunk. The same crank. I don't have a picture of her here because, like I said, we were focusing on Jax and Chanel. But when I do episode 2 and I give you some little photos, we will have a picture of the cranky lady. This is the cranky woman that Jax met earlier that transferred from Vegas, who didn't want none of the donuts that Jax was offering. So I do not know the lady's name. If you remember, get down in the comments and correct me. I will try to have it ready for my next recap. Believes that it was premeditated and that now Chanel is kind of claiming self-defense. So Jax goes to visit Chanel at jail, at the prison, let her know, look, girl, it's not looking so good, and there is no plea deal on the table at this time. So Chanel is really struggling with the whole situation. I mean, naturally, nobody wants to end up in jail, prison, or either one. And later that night, Jax is kind of talking to Lewis about it. So she says, that she deserves a lawyer who can give themselves fully. And this time, Lewis is right. And this is the worst time in her life to do so. So she gonna have to go with somebody else. But she says also at this time in her life, while it's been the worst time of her life, she has been able to prioritize her feelings. Okay, we love to see it. Like I said, therapy, boundaries. So this is good news for Jax and for Lewis that she is deciding to give the case to somebody else, but maybe not for Chanel. We gonna see. Now, Lewis asked if she's going to have one of her partners take the case over because she's at this huge firm. Now she is on the title. She is one of the head lawyers, but she cannot think of anybody at the firm that can give her what she needs. So he asked her if she has anybody in mind. Baby, we pan that camera over to Morris Chestnut, whose name is Corey, on this show, and he is blowing somebody's back out. If you he was putting in that work. So, baby, I'm sorry. Whew. Can we just take a moment for Morris D. Chestnut? Okay, I think I've gained my composure. So after this session, he gets a call and puts the friend out. I said, oh no. He was like, can I have a minute? And I get you want to have private conversation, but ooh, yikes. So he was like, Jax, I can't remember what, Stewart, is that her last name? What can I help you with? And baby, that is where we end the episode. Like I said, oh, baby, Morris, he still got it. And I am looking forward to looking at him all season. Okay. Not to take for granted that our girl Jax is a baddie also. But how about you? Are you looking forward to this season? I think that it was a wise choice for her to go with Corey. But how do you guys think that Chanel is going to take this news? Get down in the comments and let me know. I want you guys to join me back here for episode 2. Not so sure when I'm going to get it up for you guys, so just always keep your notifications on. Take a look at your community tab. I've updated my community tab with everything that I've loaded this week. I owe you guys this, as well as Bear Lair. Why did they do another 3 episodes, baby? Please like, comment, share, subscribe, and support the channel. Also, your girl is trying to get to 1,000, so share your videos. I appreciate you guys so much for coming through. I hope to see you soon in the next. Until then, peace.